If God didn't want us to eat animals, he shouldn't have made them out of meat. Lions eat meat, and then they lie around in the sun for a week doing nothing until they get hungry again. Whereas cattle eat grass, and that's all they do, all day, every day, is eat grass. I think the lions have got the right idea. About 20 years ago, I had a medical checkup and my doctor said, "How's your diet these days?" I said, "It's fantastic. I've almost totally given up vegetables." She said, "That'll be the great colon cancer diet. You want to be very careful about that one. That's a very nasty one." And then she lectured me about the importance of having a balanced diet and eating lots of vegetables. So since then, I don't see doctors anymore, but I do eat lots of vegetables. Vegetables are important. Also around that time, about 20 years ago, I knew a doctor socially who was an allergy specialist, and he'd come to the view that we are susceptible to allergies because we eat grain food, and he'd cut out grain out of his diet. I said, "So you don't eat bread?" And he said, "No, I never eat bread." And I said, "Or breakfast cereals?" And he said, "Oh no, you don't want to eat that much." I said, "You can't drink whiskey." And he said, "No, but I can drink rum." In recent years, I've known a number of people who've lost noticeably large amounts of weight very quickly, to the point where I've been concerned about their health. But when I've inquired, it's turned out they've been on high protein, low carbohydrate diets. The Atkins diet is an example. The paleo diet is an example. Protein comes from dairy food and eggs and meat, and you get lots of carbohydrates in foods made of grain. So I'm thinking about this cut out grain out of your diet thing, and I'm thinking maybe this is worth giving it a go. So I did. I cut grain out of my diet. I eat lots of meat. I lost 12 or 13 kilos very, very quickly. That's about 30 pounds. I don't feel any different. I don't suddenly feel more energetic or more alert. But then I don't feel any ill effects either. And what I have done is I've lost a lot of weight. I'm still a big man. I might even have to get some exercise if I want to lose more weight. Don't get me started down that track. When people start talking about balanced diets and nutrition, I say Eskimos. I shouldn't need to say anything more, but I will. When I was a schoolboy, I learned a joke. The joke was, Eskimos eat whale meat and blubber. You'd blubber too if you had to eat whale meat. The fact is, Eskimos did live on whale meat and blubber, and walruses and seal and fish. On a good day, they'd eat caribou or polar bears. On a bad day, they'd eat the dogs that normally pull their sleds. They lived in an environment that was snow and ice and tundra. There was no opportunity to grow crops. There were no vegetables. There were no trees. Maybe for a couple of months in the middle of summer, they might be able to gather some berries or some wild plants that were edible, but generally speaking, they ate meat only. They survived and thrived in a very, very harsh environment for 3,000 or 4,000 years, until the end of the 20th century when they moved into town and changed their name to Inuit. Here's something to think about that's got nothing to do with meat or vegetables. In fact, exactly the opposite. In the book of Exodus, God promises the Israelites that he will lead them to a land flowing with milk and honey. The Bible doesn't explain why that's so special. We're just supposed to know that that's pretty fantastic. So what's great about milk and honey? I think they are the only two natural foods that we eat where we don't have to harm a living thing to obtain it. Just a thought. And maybe somebody should think about developing a milk and honey only diet. Wouldn't that be cool?